right, so I'm going to go ahead and head back in and work on continuing to touch more and more of him. And again, keeping in mind that I want to keep touching equally on both sides as much as possible. Not all of them will be totally comfortable with staying balanced right away, but as much as possible from the beginning, I want to be super balanced. I always say your horse is only as good as their bad side, so you can see their potential on their good side. So it's pretty common what you do on one side you want to do to the other, and especially with a wild horse, you can think, you know, you can touch the one side and they're comfortable with you, and then you go and try to do the same thing on the other side and they turn around and kick you. And what that is that it is almost like having, you know, a different horse on each side. So it's really important that we keep it as balanced as possible, but keep in mind that, you know, it might take me a few days to get a horse totally balanced. So, but he's being pretty awesome. He was pretty comfortable sniffing the stick on each side. So I'm gonna say, okay, you're okay with it. I'm gonna just try to keep you really balanced from the start. Hi, buddy. Good boy. So going back on my pattern, if he moves, he's kind of, you know, it's kind of a good thing that he's more interested in the grass. He says this is a big demonstration of trust. His head's down, he's eating. You know, he's saying that he's pretty comfortable and not super worried about me. Like, yes, ideally, and there he changed eyes and that's when he moved. But yeah, ideally, you know, he's paying more attention to me. But that's gonna come with time. There he started to kind of look at me. I missed it there. So I'm going to kind of step back. I like that he's kind of wanting to pay attention. I kind of want him to be committed to standing there before I try to touch him, or have him touch the stick and then me touch him. So you'll see me kind of, here I changed eyes and he was good. But you'll see me kind of make sure he's kind of committed to being still and settled. And then I'll try to initiate contact. And here, that's not bad. I might actually be still for a second if he wants to come and say hello. So I'm just gonna talk because he's kind of used to me talking. I don't wanna go too still. Very good boy. But the main thing is I don't wanna move when he's right here because that could startle him. Hi, you're so sweet. I'll let him move back and then I'll step back and reward that. So that was super awesome of him. It was really cute. He was like, hey, like, you've been coming over here with a stick. What are you all about? But now I'm gonna go ahead and step back in. That was really sweet of you, buddy. Very sweet. Nice change of eye. He's again more interested in grass though. So, you know, I'm gonna be a little more forward of trying to cut him off there. I'm gonna give him my stick to sniff. Good boy. He kind of rubbed, oh, he wants to chew on it. True little baby gilding. And I'm just gonna go ahead and walk away over here because he's kind of cut off the space of me to be able to release over there. So to give him a big release, I'm gonna step over here. You know, then he goes back to eating grass. So I'm gonna kind of come over. Yep. Good boy. And if he moves away, that's okay. I kind of prefer him to be down on that end anyway. But I love his bravery. I mean, we've got camera set up and a couple people around and that's not bothering him. So that's really great. You kind of got some grass hanging out, buddy. So again, I want to make sure, okay, are you committed to staying here? Yeah, nice eye contact. And then I'm going to offer the stick. See there, he kind of turned his head away. And if he doesn't take interest, I'm just slowly moving it until he gets enough interest to turn around and look at it. So I'm not presenting it and going directly at him. I'm presenting it and, you know, just trying to initiate that natural curiosity that he already has. We don't want him to feel, you know, that we're forcing a touch on him. We really want this to be a conversation between him and us. Good boy. And so here I'm going to stroke him and he's like, oh, you're tickling my nose. So that's really great. And every time I'm just going to try to build how far I can touch. So there, you know, I'm going to keep in mind, okay, you know, I'm keeping a checklist in my mind. I'm going to say, okay, he was comfortable with me touching his nose, you know, a couple of strokes. Now I'm going to try to go to his cheek. So I'm going to rub, rub, touch. And he said, oh, that was a little scary. You touched my cheek. So I'm going to keep that in mind. Okay, he's comfortable with his nose, but maybe not the cheek. Because he got a little uncomfortable, I'm going to spend a little bit more time just building the distance that he's comfortable with me moving around. And by me moving around, again, that's a form of desensitizing. Good boy. That's a form of desensitizing. I'm desensitizing him to me moving. And here I'm just gonna spend a little bit more time maybe touching him if he allows it. Again, if I went and touched him now, I would be poking him. So I kind of am relying on him turning around and sniffing it. I would like him to sniff it if possible before releasing completely. So as he moved away there, I just tried to catch his eye. But he said, nah, I wasn't really that comfortable. That was too long. There he's startled at that change of eye. But it's really important that, you know, he hasn't done anything mean. I'm not gonna, you know, tap him on the butt or something if he turns away. Pretty soon here, it's gonna be really important that he trusts us enough to go behind him. So, you know, he wasn't doing anything mean by turning away. So we're not gonna make that negative and startle him more. Good boy. But this is great. He gave me this other side. He's like itchy and wants to rub his nose on the wood there. But he gave us the other side here. So I'm just gonna work on this for a second, getting him again comfortable. He's not too uncomfortable, but he definitely has his boundaries. And you know, when doing this at Liberty, it's gotta be a little bit more of a, oh, you wanna eat it. It's gotta be, there's got to be a communication between the both of us, even more so, because there's nothing I have in my hand that can physically keep him with me. Good boy. So I'm just going to let him lick and chew there for a second, move back in. These babies don't have a very long attention span, so my releases are going to be kind of quick. Oh, I know I touched you. He said that was a little scary, but he stayed with me, and I'm going to step away just so it's like touch, no big deal. And yep, he'll just kind of think on that for a second. I'd like to see him kind of deep blink, lick, chew, yawn, any of those. He's kind of got a droopy lip, so again, even though I touched him on the neck there, he didn't get too bothered by it. If anything, he looks ready for a nap, but we're just gonna maybe get him where he's comfortable with that without getting startled on each side, ideally, you know, and I'm gonna have goals that I'd like to see him reach, but you know, he's in the end gonna tell me what he's comfortable with. So here I'm touching his cheek and he's pretty comfortable with that. So rather than going cheek, neck, I'm gonna just give him one release where he doesn't startle at it touching his cheek. Now that was my fault. I went nose, cheek, neck, and he went, oh, the cheek was okay, but the neck was a little scary. So this next time, maybe I'll try past the cheek. Oh, I know, I touched your whisker. I'm sorry, buddy. So that was actually really good. It touched his whisker and he got a little startled, but that was the first time I was able to touch him without, what he does is he first turns his nose into it. And when he turns his nose into it, I'm able to slide it against his face and then touch him. But that was the first time he didn't initiate contact first. So that's a big step. Even though he wasn't, you know, super wanting to engage with it, you know, we take it as a win still because I was able to touch him without him touching the stick first. But maybe, you know, right away, I'm not going to go straight to touching him. I'm going to kind of balance out by desensitizing him to me being close to him, but not touching him. We don't want it all about touch, 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 where he maybe loses a little bit of trust or gets a little unsure. He's being really awesome. And here, stroke, really nice. So when I'm working on something new, like now it's a new type of touch because he's not touching first, I'm touching. I'm not going to try to touch his neck, even though a few minutes ago that was my goal. I'm not going to, you know, change things. I'm going to get him comfortable with me touching his cheek. And now that he's comfortable with me touching his cheek, now I'm going to try to go cheek and then slide to the neck. You got such a cute little droopy lip. It's adorable, buddy. You're pretty adorable. So there, he turned his head because he has a fly. And so I'm just kind of moving this stick. Here he's starting to turn. And here I'm going to rub his cheek, neck. And there's no reaction. So we're not being sneaky. We're just breaking it down into little steps to set him up for success. So that was really awesome. To finish the session, I'd really like to be able to do the same thing on the other side. Again, balance is really important. He's not in too bad of a space. I'll try to balance the other side. The only bummer is I can't walk alongside that side, but I can still stand in front of him. So I'll give that a try. If he moves, great. If he doesn't, great. It's really all about working with what our horses offer us and kind of making do with that. Really for me, I'm happy if he moves. I'm also happy if he doesn't, because what you'll notice is I'm going further and further back, which is building on where he's comfortable seeing me out of. Because eventually I want to be able to go all the way behind him. Here I changed eyes. He kind of wants to sniff the stick out of that other eye. I'll let him because I do want to start working on the other side. A little release, see if he's going to lick or chew. He hasn't really gotten, there was a nice little shake. Good boy. Probably more from the flies than anything though. Change of eye. Here he looks at me. And as a rule of thumb, I want to stay about a stick's length away from the horse. That keeps me at a safe distance. Safety is a very important thing. I never want to put myself between the fence and him in an area like where he would feel, are you gonna nibble on that again? In a way where he would feel like, you know, he would need to react and maybe get me caught between the fence. Here I'm kind of rubbing his nose and his cheek. That's a new cheek. He's like, oh, that kind of tickles. I don't know what to think of that. But he was really nice about it. It didn't startle him. So I'm going to release. And there he's kind of licking and chewing and thinking about it. Good boy. When he's done processing that thought, I'll step in again. He's like, oh, this is a lot for my baby brain, but not too much. So touch his nose, slide, rub. I'm at his cheek, sliding a little further back, touch the neck, and he was way better about that now. So I'm gonna release. Let him think about that. And then actually where I'm gonna end his session is being able to consistently switch between touching each side of his neck, because that change is really important. Not just being able to touch one side or both sides, but being able to change between the two. So we'll see what he thinks of that. To do that, I'd have to stay in his space a little bit longer. So here I'll just work on changing eyes. Changing eyes. And here, if he allows me, I'll touch his neck one more time without changing. And that was really good. And really initially he probably thought that this was a giant bug touching him, and he was like, whoa, why is this bug crawling on me? Good boy, but he'll learn that I can move flies away from him, and it actually will feel pretty good. So here I'm touching his neck. I'll do a micro release here. So a micro release, I'm not stepping all the way into the middle. I'm giving him just a second to think about that. He's like, oh, that actually feels pretty good. I really liked that he stepped into my stick there. And then here I was able to directly touch his neck. And then I'm gonna directly touch his neck, and there he's soft, he's quiet, he's like, oh, this isn't so bad. That's a perfect place to end his first session, because you know, he went from his first touch on the neck, oh, that was really scary, to now he was actually kind of seeking it out. He took a step towards me, which was his first step directly towards me, not just my direction, but into my stick. That was like actually his first development of a little bit of draw. And like, he's super happy. Again, baby horse, keep the session short. Yeah, I'm really excited, and I think that's a great place to end his day one, session one.